Alright, you titans out there, you guys have it made with the Praxic Blade. It's like it was built for you. This is all negative 40 power level content you're watching me do, and we handle it with ease. I also ran this in a match-made fire team, and it worked amazing. You really are that frontline tank, the spear that leads the charge, but also the savior when your teammates go down. It truly is the best of both worlds because we finally have really good damage while deflecting, and that's all because of the bolt charge interaction with the Praxic Blade. I tested this build first on Strand, and I have to say I like Arc Titan way better now because the outgoing damage you do is just way better. You're basically this bolt charge beast that gains bolt charge from 3 different sources, including our blade, and our blade swings can discharge it for us, which I thought was a very cool interaction, as there are very few weapons that can discharge bolt charge without a barricade. So when you're doing your 3 light attacks into that heavy attack combo that you should be doing because that does a ton of damage at the end on something like beefier targets or a champion, it's cool to see that bolt charge going off over and over even while doing your swings. I have to say the more I play with the Praxic Blade, the quicker it's becoming one of my favorite weapons in Destiny 2. It's unique, it's different, it's really strong, it has infinite ammo, and I've always liked the sword and glaives in Destiny, but you lacked that survivability, especially on warlocks and hunters. And the blade also allows access to some strong subclass verbs like the bolt charge that you're watching in the gameplay, weaken that I did with the hunter on the last build, and we'll get to you warlocks in the next video. And I think that's what really tips it over the top for me is how well it plays into subclasses and what you can do with it. Now every time we hit something with our Praxic Blade, whether that be with deflecting shots or our normal sword swing, we gain 2 stacks of bolt charge. Since we can deflect literally any fire that's coming in on us, you can see how fast, just by blocking, we can have 10 stacks of bolt charge. Now that's before we add in the Arc Titan subclass, where our barricade gives bolt charge. You guys know this, right? With the Storm's Keep barricade. And then every time we're deflecting shots, I pair that with Elemental Siphon, which is a artifact mod, and that basically allows us to create a ton of ionic traces, and you guessed it, those give us bolt charge as well, thanks to Spark of Discharge, a fragment, and those ionic traces are just refilling our barricade and our pulse grenade that is very strong. Then we add in Spark of Frequency to double the generation of bolt charge from all sources. Basically what I'm getting at is we stack so many different bolt charge sources that we can fire off those huge lightning bolts, and we do it at such a rapid pace, and we have infinite ammo and infinite barricades. So yeah, basically you titans are just running around busted out here, and it's really cool to see. That power fantasy this season in Renegades is gonna feel so strong. If you guys tried my hunter build from the last video, I think you already get where we're going with this, and there's just a ton of different ways we can make this work. Obviously, we need the Praxic Blade sword, so as you guys are working your way through the campaign, you'll just unlock it eventually, and we want to pair that with the Refraction Core. Reflecting damage from this weapon applies an elemental effect that matches your equipped super. In our case on the Titan here, this is Arc, and that grants us Bolt Charge. Also, I know it says reflecting damage, but if you go up and just swing your sword, that will also give you Bolt Charge. I don't know if that's a little bug or not, but I'm happy it works that way because now we're gaining Bolt Charge whether we're reflecting shots or we're in the face of a champion and just wailing on them. Now we're going to pair that with the Arc subclass, and for the first aspect, we'll take Touch of Thunder and pair that with Pulse Grenades. This allows the pulse grenade to create ionic traces periodically. As it damages targets, it increases the damage over time. We'll add in Spark of Shock with that, so your arc grenade can jolt targets. And against high health targets or champions, just when you have one of these up, you throw it down. Really good against overload champions, right? Because it'll stun them. For the second aspect, we'll take Storm's Keep. We cast that class ability to give us all bolt charge stacks and nearby allies as well. While we're behind that barricade or even standing right in front of it, blocking shots, we gain stacks of bolt charge over time, and your weapons can discharge max stacks of bolt charge. This allows the deflecting to discharge bolt stacks, which is great. And a lot of times I'll cast that barricade, I'll step right in front of it, so I'm still building stacks, but everybody is shooting towards my barricade, so I'm pulling all the aggro of the enemies, and I'm deflecting all their shots while doing it. For the last couple fragments, we'll take Spark of Resistance. While surrounded by combatants, you're more resistant to incoming damage, 25% damage resistance. Spark of Frequency, so because we are always amplified, we gain increased stacks of bolt charges from all sources. We already went over Spark of Shock for our arc grenades, and we'll add in Spark of Discharge. Collecting an ionic trace grants you a stack of bolt charge. Now there's a couple artifact mods here, Elemental Siphon that I already went over. Rapid Final Blows with kinetic weapons. We'll create an elemental pickup that matches your equipped super. This is ionic traces for us. Those ionic traces give us just a ton of ability energy and gives us bolt charge thanks to Spark of Discharge that I just went over. You also want to pair Dielectric with this build. Defeating arc debuff targets grants you bolt charge, so this is another source when our pulse grenade is jolting targets. but also rapidly defeating arc debuff targets spawns an orb of power and heals a small portion of your health. Not that that's really needed with how we have the build set up, but it's just a nice little added bonus on top. For our exotic armor piece, that will be the Stronghold Titan Gauntlets. Remember, you can put different exotic ornaments on that Stronghold now, so you can make them look really good. This maximizes our guard stats on equipped swords, so we can guard infinitely pretty much. We take reduced damage while blocking, and we get restoration ×2 just by blocking shots. Pretty simple. Since we have such great guard resistance and deflecting all that outgoing damage that's coming at us, we pretty much have infinite health with restoration ×2, and it just allows us to guard infinitely, so we can just keep cycling our barricade, putting it down, guarding, and letting the bolt charge and the deflecting shots that's coming in kill everything in front of you. You will set off 5 or 6 bolt charges in like 10 or 12 seconds, literally. And I'm going to show the stats on the build here for a second. This is with all my font mods active. So we had close to 500 total stats, but basically you just want to get your grenade, your super, your class ability, and your weapons up there. We don't need any ammo with our weapon because we pretty much have infinite ammo, as you can see in the gameplay. So you just want to get close to 100 weapons to get that extra 15% damage for our weapon. Then of course get close to 100 class ability, just so when those ionic traces are coming back, we get the most amount of ability energy we can to loop that barricade over and over. Then I had 130 super, at least hit 100 to get that super coming back quickly, but if you can push it over 100, it's just going to do extra damage for you, and that's same with the grenade. Get it close to 100, so the ionic traces feed that grenade quicker, but I had 140 in the gameplay, so it allowed that grenade to hit about 30% harder, which just makes it feel really good. If you could push your super stat even higher or your grenade stat even higher, which I know some of you can, I think all my armor was tier 4. And then as far as armor set bonuses go, you could pair this with something like the tech set. I think I did have a 2-piece on, I did not have the 4-piece on. But the 2 pieces, you deal significantly increased kinetic damage to combatant shields, overshields, vehicles, and constructs. But the 4-piece is the one that will disorient all of them as well. But really no armor set is actually needed. That's just a nice, cherry on top if you get that. Now let's go over these mods. They are pretty much stat stacking mods. On the helmet, we'll take Kinetic Siphon. It allows those reflected damage that you do to spawn orbs of power on every 2 kills. Yes, this works with deflecting just the shots back at enemies. We'll also take 2 super fonts on our helmet. That gives us that plus 40 to our super. On the gauntlets, we'll take 2 grenade fonts. That gives us the plus 40 to our grenade stat. And then on our chest piece, we'll take damage reduction. I had an arc resist, solar resist, and a concussive dampener in the gameplay you're watching for splash damage. On the boots, I like innervation, reduce grenade cooldown each time I pick up an orb of power just to feed that pulse grenade because I do like that pulse grenade and it is very strong. And 2 kinetic weapon surges. This just allows anything I'm doing with that sword to hit 17% harder, whether it's my normal swings or the deflected shots. That's on top of the 15% we get from the weapon stat being at 100. On our class item, we'll take the bomber mod. So every time I'm popping that barricade, it is feeding back into my grenade. And then 1 class font that pushed my class up to about 120. So I get a little overshield each time I pop my class ability. And then time dilation to make all those armor charges I'm collecting last 18 seconds. I really didn't get into the 4th or 5th column of the artifact yet because I haven't unlocked the mods, but I went over the 1 or 2 artifact mods earlier in the video that you would want to pair with this. I hope you guys give this build a try. I hope you found this video helpful, maybe you learned something, and I'll see you guys in the next video, which should be the Warlock one. I have a few things I want to test, but I think I have a good one coming. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a great rest of your day.